Welcome to Iceland, the land of fire. We followed students from Case Western Reserve University as they embarked on a journey they will never forget. Led by world-renowned Professor Megan Bukta, these students immersed themselves in Icelandic culture, learning how ultimately Icelanders have harnessed the power of their world, of their fire, to power society. We followed 3 students on their journey through Iceland: Brian, Chandler, and Charlie. These young men immersed themselves in the culture of Icelandic businesses and organizations through a lens of sustainability. It wasn't all work. They made sure they enjoyed calm little glizzies and ginness on their downtime. We asked each student to reflect on their time in Iceland, focusing on what they learned from a business and personal perspective.
The trip for me was amazing. By all means, it was everything I hoped it was.
I feel like the people there just kind of took it upon themselves more than we do here to add sustainable practices to their life.
Yeah, just for me personally, I had a freaking amazing time.
I got to make new friends with the Management 315, other Management 315 students. And
with Sorpa, we saw, first of all, the person that was with us on the bus and took us through that secondhand store. He basically just quit his old life to dedicate his life to helping.
There's 2 modes of thinking. There's green growth and then there's degrowth. The green growth is making technology to stop the pollution, fix the pollution that's already been done. And then degrowth is stop making stuff that we don't need. So
when you first get into Sorpa, you're like, what? Who is this guy? Why is he telling me I can't buy anything? And then, he starts talking about the average amount of waste that we produce, and it's like, whoa. He's making some really good points.
That whole process of how they're using waste for fuel and compost, which is basically just making a circular system there, but also just the buy-in from the people in terms of every person now has to have 4 bins in their house for trash.
I mean, Sorpa was great, don't get me wrong, but you want to talk about pioneering, we gotta talk about Carb Fix.
I personally probably wouldn't do it justice trying to explain how the process is, but in the most simplest of forms is they have CO2 captures that take carbon dioxide from the air, and then what they do is they dissolve it in water, and they've drilled so deep into the ground that they've reached the porous basal rock with spaces in between. So what they do is in this carbonated water that they have, they just pump it into the rocks, and it would fill up the gaps and turn it into limestone. So you're taking carbon dioxide from the air, you're putting it underground and turning it into a non-harmful thing, I guess. You just make it limestone, just make the rocks harder. So it's impressive, the process on its own.
Yeah, just moving into, the local perspective and the cultural perspective that I gained aside from the sustainability initiatives. When I was walking to the gym, because, I'm super cool and I work out on vacation and stuff, there was, I met some very worldly people. I met a photographer who was taking photos of the ice, and I asked him, I said, hey man, it's so beautiful out here. What are you up to? And he told me, it's beautiful, but it'll kill you. It'll kill you in a heartbeat. And I was like, whoa.
Icelanders live with the constant existential fear of volcanic eruption, something the group was made aware of every day.
Well, the town and a popular spa have been evacuated in Iceland after a nearby volcano erupted. It's the 11th eruption in the area since 2021, and magma has now breached the defense walls north of Grindavik, that's home to nearly 4,000 residents.
I think part of what makes the volcanic eruptions important to Iceland is you got to take a little bit of a historical perspective on this. Iceland was not a tourist attraction in the past, and it was actually a volcanic eruption that put them on the map in a lot of ways. And these things are really affect them, and we go visit and we go through and we learn a little bit of the history and the culture, but there's these really important things going on. Something else that really stuck with me, especially after visiting Carbfix, was that we learned that we don't know all of the ramifications of what it means to be injecting carbon dioxide and turning bedrock into limestone, and it could have seismic effects in the future, and these are all things that we really have to take into account.
Chandler, Brian and Charlie learned important lessons, had an amazing time, and left Iceland inspired to make change.
I mean, let's not pretend like everywhere doesn't have issues. And we're not going to end this on a doom and gloom note. We had an awesome time.
Taxin í dalnum rennir niður bankastrætið. Silfraður himinn og sítrónu vodki. Stúlkan hvert fórum, hvar hver fórum. Kynfærið horfið af sporbaug. Ég ætla ekki að deyna og þú ætla ekki að deyna og ég ætla að finna hana aftur á morgun. Ég ætla að finna hana í Reykjavík helvíti. Hljómskálagarður við Heimskautabaug. Hallgrímsson lítur á mig. Blað skilur beikon og egg. Suðrið og sælan allt farið. Frost kalda vetranótt. Ég krassaði snjóinn og svaf. Ég ætla ekki að deyna og ég ætla ekki að deyna og ég ætla að finna hana aftur á morgun. Ég ætla að finna hana í Reykjavík helvíti. Ég ætla ekki að deyna og ég ætla